fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and the north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflicts instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo today, as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels, vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to live for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you.
Today is a great day for the continent of Africa. Today is a great day that marks the historical inauguration of our African unity, the unity that the founding fathers of this continent fought for, the unity that we needed and that we need up to today. It is that unity that propelled us to become independent. It is that unity that gave us, the founding fathers, to unite 57 years ago to form what we call Organization of African Unity, that later on became African Union. Today in Africa, so many things have taken shape. It is unfortunate that today, this year, 25th May, the Africa Day, is being celebrated under the clouds of COVID-19. The continent of Africa has struggled since the formation of African unity 57 years ago. The founding fathers of this great organization, Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, Jomo Kenyatta, Nyerere, Ahmed Sekou Toure, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Milton Obote, Amir Cabral, Patrice Lumumba, Samora Machel, and others who came later on to take up the struggle, Robert Mugabe, Gaddafi, those who struggled to make sure that this continent liberates itself from the colonial yoke, takes its political stand on the world stage. Ahidjo of Cameroon. These were great men of this continent. But today in Africa, on a great day like this 25th, how many people recognize this day? Why has the African Union, our union, that took over from the Organization of African Unity, why has it become a diluted, eroded institution? Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Political Command Center down under the water in Mombasa. That is not Mombasa today, but I'm back in Nairobi. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa TV. As usual, Miriam gets me offside when I have not put on this. Now here we are. Thank you very much, viewers across the continent of Africa, the globe, and in Addis Ababa, the African Union. Thank you very much. The few heads of state who went there to say the truth. Those delegations that say the truth. We shall look at that. This show is Africa Showdown. In Africa Showdown, we have two segments. The first segment we'll be looking at Kenya. Events back at Kenya. In Kenya, what's going on? Political trends. Things seem to be not working out for the Deputy President William Ruto. He went out to Milan to borrow money. The lenders said they don't have the money. They are threatened to take the helicopters. We have those type of things. And to find out the helicopters are not even registered in his names. Things are hot. Therefore, for me, I think Wesonga knows very well, and Miriam, I say my truth. If you don't want to, if you don't like me, it's up to you. But I would have said my truth and gone away. Thank you very much. This and other topics. We shall look at the African Union. Is it dead, dying? Will it die? Can we rebrand it? The likes of Uhuru Kenyatta. Can we stand up now? Is it the time now for us in Africa to say we need African Union? Is it the time? Is it the time for African Union to operate? What has happened? What went wrong? President Uhuru Kenyatta made his remarks also. And we have been making these remarks for more years, many years, and without any action. Is it perhaps time for people to say what is going on and take action as we stand now? African Union is in chaos. President Uhuru Kenyatta says, hello, what do we do? Too many conflicts, too many coups, too much violence. What is the problem? What can we do to stop the violence that is taking place in Africa? Thank you very much. With those few remarks, I introduce my co-host, Miriam Ogutu in Nairobi. My dear sister, good afternoon.
Doc, a very good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to our viewers. Good morning, good evening, depending on where they are tuned in watching us today.
Thank you very much. Again, in the CBD of Nairobi, somewhere in the palatial homes of the palatial suburbs, suburban. We can call them urban or palatial. I don't know, both of you live in those areas outside town. For us who are in centered near the GPO, you know, GPO is well known by the British General Post Office. Those days we marked the Nairobi town through General Post Office, GPO. Thank you very much across the continent of Africa and in Nairobi, Daniel Sean Wesonga. Good afternoon.
A very, very good afternoon to you, Dr. Masanga David, at our Political Command Center. Good afternoon to my colleague, Miriam Ogutu, and good afternoon to our viewers here in Nairobi, East Africa, Africa, and the rest of the globe. And it is indeed my pleasure to be on the conversation this particular afternoon on the African Showdown today.
Thank you very much, viewers. Across to you, back to you, Miriam in Nairobi. But before we do this, there is candid talk. We have to have a candid talk. I think we must change the politics, the trends of Kenya. Miriam, the trends of Kenya are very serious. The coming 2 weeks in Kenya, history will either change or sink, or destiny will be found. There is an ICC case which is very clear that you need to put in account, my dear sister. There are quite a lot of stories that are coming out in Kenya that we have to be very careful and say these things, shall we run away from the wind? Back to you.
Indeed, a very important question there. But before we get into it, let me just take us through quickly to the headlines this afternoon. And on the Sunday Standard, Ruto Raila face knife-edge test in tickets rush as Azimio la Umoja and Kenya Kwanza alliances face their biggest test yet in the next 2 months as they conduct the dreaded party primaries to pick aspirants in an exercise often criticized by defections, characterized by defections, name calling, and sometimes chaos. That is the main headline. And then what a reloaded Uhuru means for Mount Kenya, that is on page 6 of the Standard newspaper, and the big interview, Karua on running mate and her political battles, and 6 actors who will make or break polls, that is on page 8. And then we move on to the Sunday Nation, and the main headline on the Sunday Nation, okay, aid to Raila. This is what we want to join Azimio. Will they jump? Kalonzo, Karua, Jirongo, and Moi are laying out their list of demands to the Raila camp as a team of coalition experts craft to deal the stories on page 19, 20, and 21. And then it's D-Day in Yaoundé. Liverpool teammates Salah and Mane go head-to-head in today's Africa Cup of Nations final. We know Egypt, made it. Egypt, which other team? They made it to the finals of AFCON, and then Ruto sallies the ground for Uhuru. That is on page 21. Mudavadi, my agenda is all about economy. That is on page 11, and concerns as junior high cost missing in new budget. That is on page 6, and that is what we have on the leading newspapers this afternoon, Doc.
Thank you very much, Miriam. That is one of the things that Ruto-Raila cost battle. The coast is hot. I was in Mombasa this weekend, and I went to, as you know me, all the time I go for investigative. So I am not telling those who, there's a very big conference for health, universal health care, which is taking place in Mombasa starting from tomorrow. It will be opened by His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who will be the guest of honor. And thousands and thousands of delegates have thronged the hotels across the beaches of Mombasa. The tourism has returned. One thing that I observed, Miriam, is that we seem to be not even talking about COVID anymore, because COVID seemed to be dying slowly and becoming endemic in our systems. But as I watched, as I passed through, and as I gathered my investigative journalism acts and tactics, I found one thing very interesting. One taxi driver who dropped me at the airport said, do you know what? Look at this place in Mombasa. This place for 100 years, there was nothing. But this time, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, has put up roads. Look here. Even the taxi driver was visibly angry. He's not a Kikuyu. He's not a Luo. He's a Kenyan from the coast. He's a Giriama. Because I went further to ask, and these are some of the facts, Miriam, which our partners, some of the friends, criminals from Azimio, from Kwasa Kwasa, I call it Kwasa Kwasa dance, because that is Kwasa Kwasa dance. You know, yesterday they dressed like a women, they dressed up like a Kwasa Kwasa, going for Kwasa Kwasa dance. You know, Mudavadi, when he starts dancing, he doesn't even know how to follow the rhythm. Matsanga knows how to follow the rhythm. Everuya knows how to follow the rhythm. But Mudavadi is useless. So let me tell you, my friend, I hoped I thought I could meet one of them in the hotels. We bump into each other. For me, I met some MPs who came from the rally. I'm telling you, those MPs, I don't want to tell you the names, but they are defecting. We had a candid talk, Miriam. The driver told me, like, look at this, the ocean just been here. President Kibaki came, Jomo Kenyatta came. Moi promised us this. This man came and dug the road. We shall give him and we shall, whatever he tells us, this is the cost. Whatever Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta tells us whom to give this country to continue with the work that President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has been doing is the one we are going to take. That's what the man, a taxi driver from one of the hotels where I stayed. Of course, you know my status and my standards. You can guess which hotel around the coast, which befits me. I'm not like a Ruto who builds a hotel and then tries to cut part of Indian Ocean water to come into his sitting room. This is a very ugly, blunt, very, very greedy boy. You know, he builds a hotel, goes to even build to cut the Indian Ocean, piece of Indian Ocean, media. I even passed through that Delphine hotel. I don't know, the NEMA license, maybe it will be got online. So Miriam, these are some of the things we want to go into, deep into, and see the cost is 50-50. Not 50-50, is shifting to 70-30. By July, the cost will be 20 for Ruto and 80 for Raila and Jubilee Party and ODM and other affiliated parties. For me, what I got is that one. Medium, back to you in the studio.
All right, Daniel Wesonga, even from the headlines I've read this afternoon, and especially this one on the Sunday Nation, where now One Kenya Alliance seems to be edging closer to joining Azimio la Umoja, but they do have a list of demands they want. So what do you make of some of these demands that you've heard, perhaps?
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, it is good that One Kenya Alliance has finally smelled the coffee, and actually they are gravitating towards the Azimio la Umoja. However, they should put into consideration that Azimio la Umoja is not just Raila Odinga and ODM. And therefore, we have the Jubilee Party, we have the DAP Kenya Party, we do have the UPIA movement and the Power Party for Amason Kingi of Kilifi. So these actually calls for some kind of benevolence, and also realistic demands when they bring it on the table. They should not just cast everything to stone and say that the position of the running mate is non-negotiable, and also demand for the 50% of government. Remember, Azimio la Umoja is the only coalition that has allowed other small parties and people from other regions of this country who have been marginalized over and over again to come on the table and be able to negotiate with the presidential candidate of the Azimio la Umoja. So my thoughts and my perspective on this will be that let Oka come on board, but also let them be considerate enough so that at the end of the day, every player that comes on the table to form a coalition with Azimio la Umoja gets a fair share of the cake. So we cannot have a half of the government and the running mate position, and also maybe deny other people from Mount Kenya, other people from the coast, other people from Western Kenya, and the rest of the country to miss out on sharing the national cake. They can do it the way the NAC government did it in 2002, where everyone, at least we have a representation from every part of the country. So let them not just come with these demands and be able and stick to these demands and say that they are irreducible. Let them come on board. I believe Kalonzo Musyoka is a very reasonable politician, very seasoned and quite an intelligent lawyer. I believe if they can be able to consider all these factors and the nationalist that he is, they will be able to sit ground and allow maybe a fair sharing of positions, which will mean they will not demand as much as they have demanded on today's dailies, Miriam. I submit.
Doc, what if some of these demands by the One Kenya Alliance leadership is not met by Azimio la Umoja? What other options do they have, or now, what even options do they have outside of joining Azimio la Umoja that is viable?
They don't have. Look, they are not, you know, it is now very, Miriam, it is very clear. But in Mount Kenya, people have realized, they have woken up, that it is very difficult for you to vote a man who has gone to steal your money, a man who steals your chicken and gives you the hooves. What are they called? The legs. Where Songa comes from a place where we eat chicken. Some of us don't eat the head, but where Songa's place, they eat the head and the legs. Yeah, but for us across in the mountain, we cut off the head and the legs. But in Luyaland, where Songa should not smile, that Ruto has eaten the whole chicken from Mama Sarah in Webuye near Kapan Pepper, Kabrengo. Then he is giving us the legs and the intestines, and then the head. But the whole meat he has taken. It has come to very serious business, Miriam, I'm telling you. Every time when I talk here, people think Matsanga is a liar. When I bring information here, my platform is verifiable. It tells the truth. It delivers the truth. Watch the information that comes from there. When I tell you something is coming, it is coming. I've already predicted there is a coup in making a big one in Africa, in West Africa, coming. Like it or not, one country is going to be upset and it will take back so many of us. So that one, I have told you, Ruto sneaked out of Dubai and went to Milan. We know what Milan is known for. This is where he bought the helicopters. The information coming from there is worrying every human being who wants to know about Kenya. That the guys have said, you haven't paid the other money. Would like you to pay the other money. And they would like new guarantees. Because you see, Milan is a city, it's like a Sicily. Those are mafia states. Those are where the mafia, the original mafia who killed Aldamoro, the Red Brigades, Miriam, that you have read about, where they come from. Those are dangerous people. So at the moment now, Ruto, this morning, breaking news a few minutes ago, Mr. Ruto has said he has stopped all, all the.
Would you like to get a glass of water?
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right. As you do that, perhaps.
Yes, I have got it, Miriam. Yes.
Go ahead.
He has stopped all church donations. Just now, take it from me, Miriam.
All right. Sorry for that.
More water. I think my water went to a pipe.
Very well, you do that. Okay, so we do have the story on page 19 on the Sunday newspapers. We wait for Doc to come back, and One Kenya Alliance will be demanding the running mate position and significant representation in government in an expected partnership negotiation with Azimio la Umoja movement for the August 9th general election. Sunday Nation has learned that the One Kenya Alliance technical and political teams are also crafting finer details. And before I even go further, Daniel Wesonga, they're now demanding for the second in command. And we know Kalonzo Musyoka would love to have that. But we also do have the Martha Karua factor. How do you see this working out, or where will they strike the compromise?
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, as a great supporter of President Uhuru Kenyatta and his agenda, I will say that for the purpose of fairness, all due fairness, you realize that the Jubilee Party is also part of Azimio la Umoja. And when it comes to terms of numbers and the political muscle, the Jubilee Party is much stronger than the Wiper or the entire One Kenya Alliance. So me, from where I sit, I think I will really suggest that for the running mate position, they actually allow the Mount Kenya region, which is President Uhuru Kenyatta's backyard, and also the Jubilee Party, be accorded that particular privilege of getting on board the running mate for the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Not unless Wiper Party, KANU, which I believe they're actually in a working agreement with Jubilee, also come on board and say, okay, now we as the Jubilee Party, you know, with all these partnerships that we have with Wiper, KANU, we settle on Kalonzo Musyoka or Martha Karua. Of course, now Kenya is not in a coalition agreement, any post-election coalition agreement with the Jubilee Party. But you know, in politics, a day is a very long time in politics, and these things are perhaps bound to happen. But if that happens, Miriam, then it will be okay for the Azimio la Umoja team. Martha Karua is a very resilient lawyer. However, I might disagree with her on one or two things. But nonetheless, if she can assure perhaps whoever is in charge of making sure that this coalition actually comes to fruition, that she can be a good deputy president, then I have nothing to object. Our only problem is having people who might come to Azimio la Umoja, but still their hearts and minds are with the deputy president. We see Martha Karua being very close to Moses Kuria, a man who is a free agent, who does not have any political allegiance, and he can attack anybody. Sometimes he talks bad about the legacy of the president. Sometimes he attacks the ODM leader. These are confused individuals who do not know whatever they want in the current political formations. So therefore, Miriam, in my honest opinion, I think the running mate should come from the Mount Kenya region, just to balance the equation. Kalonzo Musyoka can be given any other post in government, or maybe cabinet slots and all that, to be shared with One Kenya Alliance. And another thing, as we discuss this, in the light of this, let us keep in mind that also BBI is more likely to come back. And with the comeback of BBI, then we are more likely to see more positions coming into place, the deputy prime minister, the two deputy presidents and all that. So that will actually provide enough positions for all these leaders to be accommodated. So to me, for now, I don't think we should give priority to the running mate debate, but we should actually encourage One Kenya Alliance to finalize a formal agreement with Azimio la Umoja on whichever terms, but also wait to see whatever will come out of the Supreme Court in due course, and actually focus on making sure that they capture the government and they do not leave this seat to go to William Samoei Ruto. So to me, let them unite with the unity of purpose first, and once government is one, then they can be able to share these positions. But in my honest opinion, Miriam, to answer you, I think the Mount Kenya region would have been okay with the running mate position.
Very well, and I see Doc is back. Doc, go ahead. You were saying something before.
I want to begin where my friend Daniel has stopped. Daniel, on this one, I think I would stand to bargain for Stephen. I would stand on the side of Stephen and Daniel. Stephen has 1.4 million votes. And to stop an onslaught on those votes, they need a person from that side. They have all the free governors are on board. Surely. You can never have a region of that nature that is unanimous, supporting Raila Amolo Odinga. Then you deny them something very strong. The mountain will be guided accordingly. But the mountain, if they don't have from Azimio, they will vote Azimio. The mountain is not very keen. The loser in this game will be Ruto, because Ruto would want to have what we call a Luya vote. And in absence of a Luya man in either number 2 slot, because if you are going to the mountain to pick, and the Ruto picks from the mountain, and picks a man like a Rigathi, Raila will be home by 8 o'clock. You get my point? But if Raila picks Stephen Kalonzo, we are done. We are done. Our chances are more, and that Martha is not going to complain. Martha wants to retain the governorship, or in the future become the Minister for Constitutional Affairs. Have you ever managed to have a Speaker of National Assembly in terms of Martha Karua? Very tough position in the next government, where you need a no-nonsense lady. Martha Karua has told you he cannot work with a thief. Whether Moses Kuria can talk from his bed with his legs cut off, if they are cut off, because me, I don't have any sympathy with Moses anymore. First, he doesn't pay debts, people's debts. People are crying, everybody is crying, including me. So me, Miriam, I have no good words for Moses Kuria. The only thing is, I pray to him, I'm not a bad man who wishes people to have no legs. But Moses Kuria, when he comes out of hospital, begin by paying people's debts, so that you can come out and walk nicely. People are crying, Mr. Moses Kuria. You have taken a lot of money from people. Some of us have paid a lot of money to rescue you from remand where you don't pay people. So pay people's debts when you come out of this half legs of yours, you know, then God can help us all, including you. But at the moment, I don't see any opposition. Which one? Kinjuri was got from nowhere. Kinjuri was tamaking in Nairobi, what we call tamaking. You have to tamak up and down. He cannot get annoyed more than Uhuru, who placed him in a very strategic position until he went and started working together with another thief to steal money. So we lost that. You can see that we lost. So Kiunjuri will be on the side of Azimio. He will come where Uhuru. When Uhuru goes to the mountain, there are people going to come out. Remember in Nyeri, there is another thing called, headed by Mr. Mafenge, a party there, where Kibaki's son, and I don't think Kibaki is still alive, will allow his son to join the thieves. It will be a very bad curse for the family, for the son of Kibaki, Jimmy, to join the thieves who are found in a yellow, green, and yellow colors. So in a nutshell, medium, that's the way I see politics. That's the way. So this negotiation, forth, east, west, that all will come. But on this one, with Songa, I put my hand for Stephen Kalonzo. And then I'm told that the part of Jimmy Kibaki is in Azimio. So you can see that you see the people in the mountain are not anymore interested in leadership. They have had it. I don't know what the people are studying the politics there. What did the people in the mountain want now? Is 1 shilling, 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. The Mountainean people want that. Mountainean people want that. They just don't want anything more. They have a population. They want 1 shilling, 1 vote, 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. Give them what they want. Facilities, a climate, a peaceful move, a peaceful election. They will do their business. They are not interested in leadership. They have been there for more than 30, 40 years. Therefore, I suggest that we look at some of these values that Oka, for me, I will vouch for Mr. Kalonzo, Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. I submit my paper. People might not like me, but that is the way I'm going to be speaking frankly. Kalonzo Musyoka deserves is on this one. He has made, if he agrees to work with Raila now, please, Jacom.
Yes, and his praise. He has earned the slaughter, and even looking at his history with working together and supporting Raila in the past.
Please, and you know, if you select Kalonzo, you have triggered the whole Meru area, the eastern part of Mount Elgon, the Meru, the eastern, the whole of that Meru up there, and then you trigger the coast, Taveta, Paka, Uko, Mombasa, Akwale. Those Kwale everywhere, Matuga, people will vote because they have somebody balancing. The act is balancing. But you cannot have a man from the Rift Valley after Moi's 24 years. You want another 10 years of Moi? No. That one, you know, people are not looking at simple tactics that will change the politics dynamics of 2022. 9 simple things. A voter will ask, Ruto si ndio anatoka Rift Valley. Moi ndiye alikuwa huko miaka 24. Si ndio alitupiga Makonde na nini. Bas, Haterere. No. I'm telling you, the campaign has not started. And those watching me, take these notes. Because I studied a subject called political science. I did not study or run away from the classroom like a Jumbi, who analyzes on, I did go inside the real classy in Ukondani. You know, when someone comes to say, oh, I wanted to run, but I dropped out and then went here and then this, that, like a Jumbi tells you that then I went to Kenya. That is not very good. Don't tell us. Even if you dropped out, did you go back and go this class? Did you see the real classroom on political science? Like a Miriam. Miriam is now seeing the classroom. Dani. She's taking everything from the desk. Because we used at school, we used to have people who go there to seduce ladies. And he puts the books in here and walks around the school compound. Haven't you seen those, Miriam? Talking, Wesonga knows this, and I know Wesonga behind the camera is smiling.
Are you testifying? That is what you used to do in high school.
Miriam, don't push me to that wall. But right. I think I used to be a musician.
Okay.
I was one of the most loved boys. I was very slender by then, very tall, handsome.
Okay. Now,
thank you.
A very important point there, Doc, you make, that perhaps by bringing in Kalonzo in this matrix, it might change in terms of the numbers that might attract in other parts, not just the eastern, but even the greater other side of the Mount Kenya region, Wesonga. Had you seen that factor?
Yes, thank you, Miriam. Of course, Dr. Mathanga, just like a lawyer, he has been able to argue his case quite clearly. And apart from that, he has actually given empirical data and statistics on why he thinks that Kalonzo Musyoka is the best bet. You know me, I had based on the whims and maybe the perception out there, but I did not give the statistics to convince someone that Martha Karua or anyone from Mount Kenya could actually be the running mate for Raila Odinga. But with Dr. Matsanga's submission, then I'll beg to cross the floor and support his observation and his views that we should give Kalonzo Musyoka, one, because he has a solid backing base. Two, his appointment to be Raila's running mate will actually be impactful in that it will actually bring and implode all the other regions, including the Mount Kenya East and parts of the coastal parts of the country. So I think, Miriam, that will be very impactful when we have Kalonzo coming on board as the running mate Raila Odinga. So I agree with Dr. Matsanga. We are working on the same path now with Dr. Matsanga on that one.
All right. And Dr.
Mount Kenya, above all, let me tell you, because someone watching our video could challenge me, then what do we get? I wish Wesonga left on your camera so that you see the way I'm reasoning here. Because when you hide behind there, I don't know. I want to see you. So look here, Wesonga. Mount Kenya needs ministries, cooperatives, agriculture, transport, forestry, environment, defense. Western Kenya needs the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are well known, Mwangale, Elijah Mwangale, you remember, a very credible Minister of Foreign Affairs. There are posts, believe me or not, BBI, you like it or you don't like it, it will come back. You need to balance these areas. Mount Kenya at the moment, they have tested all the power they want. 3 presidents. They are not going to complain. Even if Ruto chooses one from Mount Kenya, but remember, the moment he chooses one from Mount Kenya, he will lose the entire Western. He will not get a vote from Western. And neither will he get a vote from Eastern. If Kalonzo is on the ballot as number 2 to Raila for a 1-term presidency, mark you, Raila is not saying he wants 2 terms. Raila wants a Mandela. And that's it. He goes home. The country would have been full circle. Then we get from Northeastern, we get finance. Or if you want, gives finance to Mount Kenya. They would be very happy. They want to do their business. Just give the farmers in the Rift Valley, give them Ministry of Agriculture. As long as it does not fall in the hands of Ruto to bring in fertilizers and steal maize from Uganda and fill them in Kisumu sales and so on. These are the scenarios, you know, in negotiations. My brother, I'm one of the few people that you should utilize for negotiations. Except don't beat up my daughter-in-law and then you expect me to be on your side. But on negotiations, medium, if you have any quarrel, call me. I will even sweet talk anybody who has touched you, who has beaten you or slapped you, to be the person to.
Oh no, when you beat me or slap me, you'll be in committee. That will never happen. But Doc, the interview here that Abu Dabadi did on the Sunday Nation, let me just read a bit of a question that was posed to him and then his answer, and then I need to get your reaction before we move on. So he was asked, UDA, which is now your partner in Kenya Kwanza, has said that they will not be running on anti-corruption platform, yet ANC seems to prioritize the fight against corruption as your speech on January 23rd and subsequent speeches have suggested. How will you reconcile these situations? And this is what Mudavadi answered. I think in all fairness, that question will be best answered by the person who was supposedly quoted. As far as I'm concerned, whatever we are going to do when you talk about reviving the focusing on the economy, surely the fight against corruption is embedded in that. So he can't even answer that because we know he talked so much about corruption, Doc, and we talked here during that speech when he was endorsed by ANC. And now he was asked, the person that you've joined hands with seems to be having a different attitude towards fight against corruption. How will that work for the both of you? And his answer was just, I think, as we expected.
My dear, for me, I think my saliva goes for free when I start talking about Mudavadi. I want to keep my saliva to keep my life going. You know, wasting anything. Mudavadi, look at the body he looks, the shape. The shape is not for presidents. The voice is not for presidents. Shape, dancing. When a song, the rhythm is going in the other side in the south, is going in the north. So look here, Mama, please, let's be very honest. Mudavadi can only look after Tessie. Sit at home with Tessie, and Tessie can say, let's go out now, then they go. But to be a president of Kenya, Kenya will be very lazy. So for me, on this one, if I were a Kenyan, my vote very early in the morning, on 9th, it goes for Azimio, La Umoja, where Uhuru. Me, where Uhuru goes, if he says jump, I jump. How high? He tells me. If you don't fall in Indian Ocean, I fall. How deep? I'll go. So for me, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is my star in East Africa and African politics. If he tells me, Mos, keep quiet, I keep quiet. So for me, if I were a Kenyan, my vote will go for Raila Amolo Odinga, patterned up with Kalonzo Musyoka, and more people are going to come. More people are going to come. I don't think the people in the mountain are beginning to see the truth about all this medium, about what Ruto was promising them is not coming out. It's not. Hakuna is not working. People have started seeing it's not working. Things are not working. The MPs there are saying this thing was zero. They don't have anything. It's not tangible. The money you are talking about, you are also going to borrow. You don't have it in it that you have kept it. You are going to invest in the economy. No. You are going to do the same mathematics. So it is better to take Raila's offer of 6,000 per month for vulnerable families. It's visible. The government can decide that let's have no money, but let's pay people who are not well off. They can do it. But the one of upon bottom, which bottom? Open it. Open this bottom. The biggest problem about this bottom medium, it has not been opened. We don't know how it looks like. So let's look for this bottom. Open up, Mr. Ruto. I'm going to put on my website to ask Mr. Ruto to open up the bottom. Because some of us would like to test the fruits of the bottom. Bottom up. He should not be the only one bottoming up. In Dubai, in Milan, you know, the lady who went with him on the aircraft has come out and given me a video. So I say, should I release this video again? So these are some of the things. Bottom up, man. Bottom up. Hello, Miriam. Back to you. We are looking for bottom up. Raila told me, Ruto, to open this bottom up. What is it? We don't know. People don't know. You can't simply say bottom up. Tell us what is in the bottom up policy. What is it? You'll open it. Because slowly we are being told this bottom up is theft. Yes, it's full of injuries. It's injury time. Miriam, we can move on. There's something I'm going to do today which will shock you.
All right. Masanga, you wanted to add on something before we move on to AU?
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And of course, Dr. Mazanga has given a very convincing argument. And just like a lawyer or a salesperson who is actually trying to sell his ideas, then that is so very much convincing in terms of the running mate debate. Also, on the matter of Mudavadi, I think I will not also talk much about Musalia Mudavadi. Dr. Mazanga has already given out whatever Musalia Mudavadi is, and I will not want to dilute whatever he has said. Otherwise, we anticipate that he'll be taking William Ruto to Vihiga for his homecoming this coming week. I don't know which kind of homecoming is that. Maybe perhaps because they got married to UDA together with the sister, who is Moses Wetangula, and now they are going home for the homecoming party. That is something which I think the Mlembe nation will not actually associate with. And to me, I think in as much as fighting corruption is concerned, Musalia Mudavadi, do not expect him to go and talk about it, because that will be akin to attacking his boss, which is who is William Ruto. So to me, Miriam, I don't want to dilute whatever has been told by Dr. Matsanga David. I think we can proceed to other matters.
Very well. We get to the conversation.
Before we go to Africa, I picked a story of the ICC, Miriam. It is on one of the headlines there, on the Daily Nation by Macau Mutua. First, if I were Deputy President Ruto, I would even stop the rallies, sleep with two eyes open, think of where I will go. Instead of running to Milan, maybe to hire mafia to finish witnesses and so on. Think fast. There's something coming in Kenya on 15th, which is going to change the dynamics of Kenyan politics. So, Miriam, for me, I just ask you as my sister that through this television station, His Excellency Deputy President William Ruto, sit down and think fast. Don't sleep with one eye. I agree with Macau Mutua for the first time. Don't sleep on one eye. Use both to see and ask God, this tsunami cannot hit me. Because you actually violated against the court, not against the state. You know, you did not do anything against the state, Miriam. Mark the meeting. Are you getting in a meeting so that in the future, when you discuss these cases, there are two different dimensions. The first case, when the 6 Ocampo went, there was a situation. It was a situation in the Republic of Kenya. Now, the current situation is a situation against the ICC court. There is a difference between you perverting the course of justice in against the court and killing people in Kiambaa. So if you conspired to look for witnesses who are going to help an institution of United Nations established under the Geneva Convention, you are charged as a criminal, or a criminal who steals chicken in Sungoi, or a criminal who steals chicken in Maragua, a criminal who steals chicken in Mombasa. That is how it is no longer a summons. Because now they are looking for a criminal who went on breaking people's necks, who paid people to run away from an institution established under Article 70. I don't know whether Miriam today you've got it. That is what is coming on 15th of February, the year of our Lord 2022. Kenya will be changing. We shall hear the full story, how Ruto went behind the scenes, because it is his evidence which is on trial. He did not contest with the court about his evidence being used in this case. He allowed, he did not go there. He's busy campaigning. Now he's going to blame people that have been taken to ISIS. Because he assumes that Karim Khan was his lawyer, that he will pay money, bribe Karim Khan. Karim Khan cannot be bribed anymore. In fact, the British are watching whether Karim Khan involves himself in this case at all. They will just lock him back in Belmarsh. He's a British national. Makyu is not a man from Pakistan. He's a British national, born of Pakistani parents and born in Britain with British passport. He's answerable to the British government, the British law that does not want corruption anywhere. So people are watching. And Makyu, the deputy prosecutor, is also British. He stays in Britain, migrated from Canada to Britain. So things are thick. So if I were Ruto, Miriam, I would first of all stop these campaigns and sit down, not with one eye, but two eyes. His case died because he killed witnesses. Kenyatta's case there was no evidence at all. There was no evidence at all. You get my point? So let Kenyans get the truth. Because some of them, when you see them coming to this, oh, this is the use of, no. Article 70 was only defeated by the man with these lips, with big, they call, you insult me, Kenyan. It was only me who defeated Article 70. Thank you. Give me a credit, a hug, Miriam. And I came back home safely. I'm here talking to you today. Yes, it's very difficult. The most difficult part of it is my friend carried his phone, carried his laptop, carried his notebooks, you know, as if he was going to practice law there. And the ICC got, listen, Miriam, got all this information. The telephone, so how are you going to say, on this day I did not talk to Ruto? When you have carried your own phone, your own line, why didn't you throw this line in the Sungoi River? Some people go to school, but they don't use their brains. Perhaps for me, having gone through all these hardships, Miriam, with due respect, I think it has taught me quite a lot of things. There are certain things that since you started knowing me, that I try to avoid, and I tell you in confidence that this one, I will not manage. And it comes to pass. I think when you go back to your house, say, hey, how did this man know this? Because I've got that experience of hardship, how I've suffered, assassination attempts, being almost killed, bullets, what, poison. Please, God has helped me. So I know what I can do and not do. But I cannot carry a phone and my laptop. If there is someone me to ICC now, the first thing I destroy is this thing here I'm talking to. Throw it, give it to a songer to throw to Mount Elgon. My brother was songer, we run it, Mount Elgon, then I go like myself so they can take the blood maybe. But how can you carry a laptop? You are accused, carry the same phone, and he was phoning even when he was in Amsterdam. Have you seen how bad things are? So there you are, Mayor.
Very well, Doc, thank you so much for that. And that marks the end of our Kenyan discussion. Now let's get to the second part of our program this afternoon. As we know, that AU held its 35th Ordinary Summit, still going on there in Addis Ababa. And of course, African heads of state are in Addis Ababa 2 days, attending their first in-person summit since the beginning of COVID-19 outbreak. The agenda this year's theme is building resilience in nutrition on the African continent. But a stack of files is awaiting the 55 member states leaders. The summit addressed 6 coups or attempted coups over the past 18 months and low vaccination rates, following their constitutional regime changes for 4 member states, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, and Sudan. I don't know why they don't include Chad there, and have been suspended by the institution, by the Peace and Security Council. AU has been accused of an inconsistent response to the takeovers, notably by not suspending Chad, after a military council took over following the death of longtime President Idris Deby Itno on the battlefield last April. Reports indicate that the agenda also includes a discussion of Funky's decision last year to accept Israel's accreditation of the African Union. And as we know, the last I was just reading the latest there, President of Senegal, Macky Sall, now takes over as African Union chairperson.
Thank you very much. You want us to talk? Okay. Miriam, today is a good day and a bad day. A good day in that I will watch 2 Liverpool players. I will ask my viewers and my listeners that I had sworn never to watch AFCON, but I will watch 2 Liverpool players. I'm seeing AFCON because of the 2 men who happen to be Africans. Mohamed Salah and Mane. They are all Liverpool, and they are my sons. As a Liverpool fan for over 46 years now, I will watch it AFCON unwillingly. And it is also a good day today for me in Addis Ababa, that His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta delivered almost most of the things that Miriam we have touched on here that worry every African. The growing number of insecurity on the continent, the conflict, the violence. Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, thank you very much. And because of that, I would ask the studio to play the speech of President Uhuru Kenyatta as we think some part of his speech. I don't know whether when you are ready, you tell me, I keep quiet, which will show to you that President Uhuru Kenyatta cares for this continent. He has listened to some of the views of this continent. The video is ready. Let's look at it and then come back shortly.
Our council also held 2 meetings at heads of state and government level. The first meeting, which was held in March 21 and chaired by myself, addressed sustainable peace in Africa, focusing on climate change and its effect on peace and security in the continent, and on the implementation of paragraph 15 of the 14th Extraordinary Summit on silencing the guns of the situation in Western Sahara. The second meeting was held on October 2021, focusing on disaster management issues in Africa, challenges and perspectives for human security. And this meeting was chaired by His Excellency Filipe Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique and Chairperson of the PSC for October 2021. Despite various UN-AU resolutions and decisions, the situation in Western Sahara remains tense and volatile, especially following the military tensions between the Kingdom of Morocco and Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. The Council noted with deep concern the resumption of military confrontation between the two parties and stressed the urgent need to reinvigorate efforts to facilitate a definitive resolution of the conflict in conformity with the relevant provisions of the AU Constitutive Act. In this regard, the Assembly may wish to request the Peace and Security Council to discharge its mandate on the conflict in Western Sahara in accordance with the relevant provisions of its protocol and the relevant Assembly decision by reviewing the situation in the Western Sahara as necessary at heads of state and government level. This should also include receiving briefings from the AU Troika, engaging the two parties, both of whom are member states of the African Union, to address the unfolding situation in order to prepare conditions for a new ceasefire and to reach a just and durable solution to the conflict. This will pave the way for the self-determination of the people of Western Sahara in line with the relevant AU-UN decisions and resolutions and the objectives and principles of the Constitutive Act of the African Union. As you note, Excellencies, 2021 was marked by a spread of terrorism and violent extremism and the resurgence of unconstitutional change of governments across the continent. This is a worrying trend that needs to be arrested and dealt with decisively. A number of challenges continue to undermine efforts by member states to re-establish state authority in conflict-affected areas, and furthermore, the adverse effects of climate change continues to impede the continent's social-economic development efforts, thereby exasperating threats to human security, peace and stability. All these challenges are calling for a redoubling and enhanced coordinated efforts in order to address the resurgence of unconstitutional changes in government. Mr. Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, the African peace and security architecture, in perfect coherence with the African governance architecture, does remain our best tool for promoting peace and security in an integrated approach, combining conflict prevention, management and resolution, as well as post-conflict stabilization and reconstruction. Significant ground has already been covered to enhance African ownership of its peace and security agenda, and indeed I am pleased to note that the Peace Fund has, for the first time since its establishment in 1993, reached unprecedented levels of funding. The Peace and Security Council has taken major steps, endorsing areas of priority for the utilization of bank interest generated from the fund, and we must keep building on this success. Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, I conclude by commending Burundi for the positive progress made since 2021, and consequently, the Council in April of 2021 decided to remove Burundi from its agenda and to close the AU Human Rights Observers and Military Experts mission in Burundi. In this regard, I call upon other member states to emulate this example as we intensify our collective efforts to end wars and build prosperity in our continent.
And implement measures that maximize our food security and self-sufficiency, will be able to guarantee our...
Well, there you are. There you are. The reasons on the other station, News Central, that's what I said. We must do something to stop the coups before they come, because we must have trigger warning systems. That's what President Kenyatta has suggested. We must do something more what we are doing today. Is the AU about to die? Will it die? Is it dying? From this assessment, of what President Uhuru Kenyatta is saying. AU to me looks like it needs more oil, more engine, a new engine, a new oil, new plugs, new wires in order for it to make it a reality. It looks like it is about to sink, but not sinking. But it is captured. On the question of security, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta has got his act very nicely and together, and he's done very well. I want to even thank him very much for expressing all the concerns of most Africans, millions, who want freedom. Conflicts are everywhere across Africa, in Biafra, in Cameroon, in Central African Republic, in Libya, in Somalia, in West Africa, Sahel region. We need a solution to them. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for having gone a step further by putting up our struggle to the international community and the African heads of state in general. I thank you again. For me, from this side, Miriam, I think that is all I can say today regarding the African Union. And to me, I think it needs a new impetus, a new direction, a new encouragement, a new oil. We need to overhaul some sections. We need to bring in a modern agenda. The question of non-interference when people are dying in another state should not rise at all. Therefore, I think the few of us left must continue to push for those indicators to come in the AU. Thank you.
Very well indeed. And of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta was making these remarks as the chairperson of Peace and Security in the African Council in the African Union. And he reminded us of one of the key agendas that AU had laid. Remember, silence began by 2020, and we've been wondering how that has been panning out. Of course, not too good by what we've been seeing going on in this continent. And of course, raising the issue of the coups that we've been seeing and the level of instability and the level of, especially across the Sahel region. And also, I don't know why he did not speak on Ethiopia, but maybe because it was a host country, but that is also a cause of concern and can lead to a greater instability in the Horn of Africa. So I think it's very important. And the issue of Ethiopia is something that we can afford to ignore, because we know the impact of an unstable Ethiopia will be catastrophic to the rest of the region. So I'm glad that President Uhuru Kenyatta pointed this out, but I'd like to hear the strategies and the things that AU has in place and how it is planning to, respond effectively to some of these challenges that it has to grapple with in the continent.
Thank you very much, Wesonga.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, the only failure that has been taking through the people of Africa is non-action on its side. And you realize that if AU was to implement whatever propositions and whatever strategies that it has been outlaying out there and actually been addressing in press conferences, then Africa could be a great continent. But all AU does is all talk without action. AU sits, discusses, puts out their press conference with all the leaders talking tough, but nothing really happens. If you have to compare the AU with the West African ECOWAS, then ECOWAS has achieved milestones that AU cannot even achieve in small conflicts like whatever we are having in Somalia and many other parts of the country. So to me, Miriam, I think what President Uhuru Kenyatta has given the AU is what they should use to benchmark and be able to repeal their modus operandi. Whatever Rwanda is doing, whatever Kenya is doing, whatever Uganda is doing, that is what the other day we said. They should actually be able to borrow a leaf from all these, what these leaders are doing, and be able to implement it in their coming days. There is no need of talking about silencing guns by the year 2020 or 2050 when you do not actually read the signs of coups before they happen. Dr. Matsanga talked about some countries in West Africa where coups were actually impending. And actually whatever happened is that exactly whatever he talked about, the exact countries that he mentioned actually are the ones which are actually being bedeviled by these coup d'etats. Why can't the AU now come and call someone like Dr. Matsanga and ask him, how did you know that these coups are going to happen in West Africa? And what are the ways that we can use to actually be able to identify the future coups that have not yet happened? And what is the way forward in the way of handling these coup d'etats in West Africa? You know, let them invest in lobbyists. Let them invest with people who have international intelligence networks. Let them engage also people who have been involved in conflict resolution and peacemaking processes. Because, Miriam, today, when someone falls sick, they won't want to go to an accountant to get some help, or maybe just go straight away to the chemist. They will first of all want to see a physician, a doctor in this case, to do a prognosis and to be able to diagnose them and be able to prescribe the medicine or an injection to this particular disease. So the AU cannot solve problems that it is not privy to. The AU cannot ignorantly sit in Addis Ababa and issue ultimatums on matters that they have little understanding about. They need lobbyists who are on the ground. They need people who are networking across Africa, talking about Pan-Africanism, people who understand the leadership structures of various countries in Africa, be it Francophone countries or Commonwealth countries. And therefore, they'll actually be addressing this matter from the point of knowledge. Otherwise, just sitting in Addis Ababa for a month, and another time you are in Paris, France, and other parts of Europe, and you come down in Africa, you find everything in mayhem, and you wish to propose that you can be able to solve the African problems, then I think it is not quite possible. So let them benchmark with everyone who has been quite in close contact with whatever is happening in Africa. Let them consult with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Let them reach out to President Kagame. Let them reach out to presidents who have been able to preserve their countries in a peaceful coexistence for quite some time. And also let them be able to consult experts on matters Africa, people who are very, very much informed in matters intelligence, people who are very, very much informed in matters conflict resolution, people who are very, very much informed in matters governance, and therefore they will have a breakthrough in implementations of their policies. Otherwise, it will just remain on paper, and anything that is on paper cannot actually work on reality until you try and bring it on the ground and start expediting it on the on how it should work. So to me, Miriam, I think AU, the biggest undoing of AU is actually too much talk without actions coming to play. I submit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. As we conclude the show, please, any final words on what we've been looking at and AU, and perhaps what we will expect, any resolutions you think that will bind this forum, the 35th Ordinary Summit moving forward? You're muted.
Yes, I am dismayed that there was not a lot of condemnation, apart from South Africa and other SADC countries, that actually laid the blame why Israel and Palestinians come to our organization to fight in our organization. That quarrel is what has ashamed me as an African. Why do we allow these two to come to fight in here in Africa? In the Middle East, they fight. Now they come, and in Africa, they want to fight in our African Union. So for me, I would have wished the heads of state to make it very clear that they should leave African countries to support whoever they want. But the two states should not come to AU. All of them. Because once you admit one, the other one says, you have left me out. So on observer status, if I were the chairperson and the head of state in this world, I would suggest that such controversial delegates who want to come and fight on our soil should be removed from our proceedings. That is the end of my speech this evening. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you, President Uhuru Kenyatta, for representing us and for covering most of the issues that we have been talking here on diplomatic leaks and giving them a big bath, a big, wide gulf, wide baths, a big one, wide send-off, wide spread, wide communication. Everybody is talking about them. For us, we did our best, but Your Excellency, you have done the best of all the best to bring them to the international community that there is need for a renewed effort to stop conflicts on the African continent. Thank you. Do you want to?